Africa is ripe with opportunities, and many African countries are actually rising up to the occasion and forging partnerships with one another in order to drive up the economic performance of the continent. We are currently in Accra, Ghana. A delegation of 32 Rwandans came here to have conversations with counterparts in the different sectors, including tourism as well as trade, just having conversations to drive up investments in their respective countries, as well as grow intra-continental partnerships. You're with me, Naringwa Fiona Mothoni, and in this Doing Business episode, we are going to unpack more of the partnership that is unfolding between Rwanda and Ghana. Strong African brands can only be built through cooperation and partnerships between African countries with the aim of promoting economic development within the continent. Rwanda and Ghana are keen to foster such relations.
The vision to reinforce the strategy towards the Continental Trade Cooperation. And taking tourism and travel as one angle is, I think, one of the most important angle you can actually go forth, because tourism fosters relationship, fosters business, and foster long-term relationships actually. So it came about from an idea, of course, again from cooperation. So Ghana, our counterpart from Ghana, the tourism board and the export board, export agency, came to Rwanda a couple of weeks ago, and they explored the country. It was basically a familiarization trip. They explored the country, they visited the mountain gorillas, Akagera National Park, Nyungwe, etc. They had a sense of how Rwanda works. They had a sense of how business is done in Rwanda. We are expecting to be immersed in the culture of Ghana, because one of the great things about Ghana and Rwanda in terms of tourism is because it's complementary.
Intra-trade in Africa, including intra-tourism in Africa, is one of the potentials that we're looking at developing. No wonder, Ghana and Rwanda has gotten into this partnership where earlier this year, sometime in March, we had a Ghanaian delegation from the Ghana Tourism Federation visit the Republic of Rwanda, and the report that came was one of a very wonderful experience. And no wonder today we have this reciprocal visit, coming on. The expectation is that this will serve as the foundation blocks, for our two countries and for the other West African and indeed African countries to begin to explore and to realize that even before we begin to think of crossing our international frontiers, the continental frontiers, we have a lot that we can do between and amongst ourselves, right here in Africa.
The tourism industry in Africa has for a long time been among the top earner for most countries, bringing in collective revenues of about 168 billion US dollars and creating jobs for 24.6 million people in 2019 alone. Future projections favored the trend until the global tourism economy was grappled by the COVID-19 pandemic.
This pandemic has taught us that we have seen that we cannot really depend on international markets, especially if you look at our key source markets that we used to depend on as Africa, as East Africa. They are now all sending very few, we have very few arrivals from that side, looking at North America, Europe, even Asia. So for that matter, we've seen that we need to depend as well on continental as well as regional. And we have seen during these past few months and last year and this year as well, that domestic tourism has been really supporting tourism sector as a whole. So we are now going to see opening up to the region as well as the continent is going to help us really move forward and sustain even tourism even for the future.
The revenues generated currently has not been great because of COVID. And one of the first industries that's been hampered was the tourism and the hospitality industry. But definitely it's starting to pick up, I think. And yes, the revenues can increase and will increase as more and more people travel into Africa and Africans start touring Africa, and then the revenues will definitely pick up.
We are at Kankum National Park here in Ghana, and we've just completed doing the canopy walk, and we have to say that it has been an amazing experience, and especially from the conversations that I've been having with the different players in the hospitality and tourism sector, both here in Ghana as well as in Rwanda. They both reiterate the importance it is of actually just having domestic as well as regional and intra-African tourism, and actually some of them are learning from these experiences, and they say there are some things that they can take home and implement to the Rwandan market, as well as there are some takeaways from the Rwandan market to be implemented here in Ghana, as we all aim to achieve one common goal for the tourism industry here in Africa.
Well, it's been a really privilege to be here in Ghana, and I'm really happy, and the whole experience has been so far it's been very great. And we've come to see the canopy walk. We have the same in Rwanda as well, and it's good to see what we have in Ghana and compare the two products that we are selling, because canopy walks, there are only 3 in the whole of Africa.
It was my second time of visiting Rwanda, but it was the only time I could visit like beyond Kigali. And I must say the experience was great. We spent 1 week. It was an eye-opener trip. I think the main purpose of the trip was for us to really familiarize ourselves with Rwanda. So for me, as a key industry player, I got to see, where my possible Ghanaians who want to go to Rwanda, where I can take them. So for instance, I really understood if the person is looking for a safari experience, you can take the person to Akagera. If he's looking for a beach-like experience, since Rwanda is a landlocked, then you have to take him to the Kivu side, and just opposing that to what we have also here.
It's very difficult.
Common attractions among several nations have bred similar touristic packages, leading to the question if the industry will diversify its offerings to face the impending challenge of competition once the African market opens.
We are more complementary than competitive. So, as we position ourselves, as we work together, there are many packages that could be developed from there that are complementary, will be attractive for our own internal market and the external.
Before any partnership, you have to get a better understanding of what is required from both partners in order to align. And so I think this is the beginning of something exciting. It's even more interesting when there's so much room for optimizing. I think that's where, with the right kind of innovation, you can have very interesting products, coming up. So very optimistic from that perspective, in that we have we have a long way to go. And with this kind of collaboration that we're seeing with AFTER, I think we're sort of putting ourselves on the right platform to achieve that objective. So very exciting. So the next steps would be to basically get a sense of the different areas of interest, mutual interest, and then sort of get a sense of the frameworks around investing in both in the different sectors that are identified, and then see the way forward. So very exciting times for both Ghana and Rwanda.
Ariella Kageruka, the head of tourism and conservation at the Rwanda Development Board, highlights some of the partnerships Rwanda is keen to forge with Ghana.
I would like to have partnerships between actors of the creative industry in both countries. We did experience some of that. We really love your cultural heritage, your creative spirit. It's something it's an industry that is still very young in Rwanda. We would like to grow it. It has many benefits for the youth and for the economy as well, and therefore we look forward to really work with you, to learn from you, and vice versa. And therefore, our culture is very beautiful as African people, and creating an Afrofusion cultural event or festival in both countries would be absolutely wonderful. We're also looking at developing skills for students, and therefore looking at organizing, establishing a framework to enable student exchange programs between institutions of higher learning in both countries. We are actually also looking at establishing a hospitality school of excellence in partnership with an institution that is well known around the world. We'll be announcing that soon. And therefore, also learning from your hospitality that dates way back. We learned about this when we were touring the country. Your hospitality definitely precedes you, and therefore learning from each other and having those students travel between the two countries to learn from each other would be highly beneficial. We also look at Rwanda tea and coffee pop-up experience in Ghana, especially in the upmarket outlets, hotels and restaurants. This would position tourism products of Rwanda directly in Ghana.
While greater African unity has long been cherished, closer economic and political ties between nations is yet in the making. We learned what is holding back this transformational intra-Africa policy.
When back at home in Rwanda, when we say agaciro, we mean it's if you give value to yourself and what you have, then the rest follows. So even that which we see as weaknesses or bottlenecks, it's just that we've not invested in them. So what might be wanting in Rwanda and is maybe available here presents an opportunity for maybe Ghanaians to come and invest in that.
By putting value on ourselves, by really believing in ourselves and knowing that Africa is a beautiful country to visit. We have to tear down the stereotypes, and we have to do a better job at branding and marketing ourselves. We have to rebrand Africa. Ghana experienced the year of return 2 years ago in 2019. And part of that initiative of return was to return value to ourselves as African people by showing appreciation of what it is that we have and putting that value on ourselves and our culture. We have so much rich culture on the continent of Africa with our various ethnic groups, with our various nationalities.
Well, there you have it. You've heard it from different players, both in the public sector as well as the private sector, from both the Rwandan delegation as well as their Ghanaian counterparts. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Doing Business in Rwanda, Ghana edition. You're with me, Naringwa Fiara Mothoni. Until next time, it's bye for now.